Seriously, people, where are all the reviews featuring the perspective of the big people? Big men and women, larger people, and their bikes. Where are those reviews? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back again. Dave's Dimension. Welcome back again for another video. Welcome back to the channel that is your home for tech, toys, and talk, and the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. So we got a little bit of a big guy rant. Okay, my problem is this. Bike reviews, where are the big guys? Where are the big people? Where have all the big guys gone? We're getting, don't get me wrong, guys. There are tons of amazing reviews out there. There's tons of amazing bike reviewers for both standard bikes and also e-bikes, mountain bikes, whatever is your flavor. There's tons of amazing reviewers out there, but here's my problem. Where are the big guys? Okay, I'm 6 foot and I'm 370 pounds right now. Okay, I'm not a fan of that. I'm trying to lose weight. My lowest was 340. Once upon a time, I was 495. I was massively huge. Okay, I was almost 500 pounds. I was disgusted with myself. I came to a realization I needed to improve my health. That's another story for a completely different video. But the problem is, even at 370 pounds, I got a bike at 495 pounds. I spent almost $1,000 on, basically I spent another $500 on a $560 Townie, electric Townie, a 70 Cruiser to fortify it for my weight. I got down all the way to 340 on that bike. And then we went and got new bikes. I was sold a bike that was not rated for my weight. The manager of the store knew what my weight was and said, "Oh, yeah, sure, that this bike is, it'll be strong enough for you and whatever else." Guess what? The frame was, the wheels and everything else, not so much. So that's one of those buyers beware. Okay, so long story short, I'm now without a bike that will support me, a bike that I can ride. So what am I doing? I'm looking at e-bikes, and I'm going through, for the past several weeks, I've been going through hundreds of reviews, and just about every single person at most might be 300, maybe close to maybe about 300, maybe 245, 265. And the problem with all that is, guys, there's heavier people than me. There's heavier people than what I used to be. And you shouldn't have to be relegated to riding a tricycle or, having to spend $1,000 for extra reinforced parts. But also with e-bikes, there's a lot of bike shops that won't even touch them. Okay, there's a bike chain in my area, around the Buffalo, Western New York area, that will not work on e-bike parts, but they'll still work on the mechanical side, like the hydraulic brakes, or if you have a flat, they'll help you with that. You need adjustments with your brakes. You need, new pedals. The mechanical aspect of your bike, they will service, but not the e-part, not the electronics. They won't touch that. If it's not a bike that they don't carry, you'll have to go through the original manufacturer for parts and take it from there. Now, a local bike shop I went to, they do carry the Aventon line of bikes, so I could buy an Aventon and get it through them, and they would still support it because they're certified with that. But the other brands I'm looking at, no. So that's another story all onto itself. But guys, all these reviewers, I've seen some pretty amazing reviewers here. Okay, in fact, we're going to take a quick look at one of them right now. Okay, this is on YouTube. Okay, I found a bunch of amazing reviews here. Like, okay, this one is best e-bikes for heavier riders. This one that's a sore subject with me right here. This reviewer is for the 630 e-bikes and bicycles company. This is their official channel. Now, I reached out to them because their website, here we go. Their website shows you right here. This is one of their bikes that it's only rated for 300 pounds. It says it right there, 300 pounds. This is 630.com. They have a great looking line of bikes, but if you're 300 pounds or more, you're going to be out of that consideration right there. They have some very classic looking, some great looking cruisers, but they top out about 3 or 330 in some cases. I emailed them about this, and they said, well, basically you have to get, for heavier riders, you have to get heavier rims, different rear cassette, which is the cog. You have to get certain parts that will be larger, and you're most likely going to have to go through your local bike shops to do this. So their video was kind of false advertising, because in their video they feature people between 245 and 400. So they didn't disclose that they had to get those bikes had to have extra parts, or should I say parts replaced, to support heavier people. So I reached out to them. I emailed them. They admitted that yes, that they definitely need to kind of update their video, and they need to include that additional information so people aren't misled. Okay, a lot of cyclists, they're this guy isn't exactly heavy. I mean, maybe he's weighs a few more, but he's also got a little bit more definition in his arms. Here we have another person. This person is not a heavy set person. Here's one. Best bike seats, but this is only for bike seats. Okay, we're looking for reviews with, for bike reviews with heavy set people, because I typed in here, bikes for heavy riders, and these are the first few we get. Propel, he's a great reviewer. Okay, I'm not knocking the reviewers, but I'm knocking these companies. Okay, this guy, obviously he's not going to be around 350, This guy, he's probably going to be about, I want to say this one was around 265, 245 maybe. I mean, that's what I weighed in high school. That's not really heavy set, guys. It really isn't. The purpose of this video is I want to challenge these bike companies. And now, I've come across a few bike companies here. Now, I am not singling these out for any particular reason. I think these are great companies like Aventon, Hovsco, 630, and Hey Bike. They have great choices on bikes of different ranges, different needs, even some bikes that will fold and condense. There's different styles. I mean, they have a lot of different varieties here, guys. A lot of different variety here. I'm not knocking them. These are 4 of the contenders. When I started looking for e-bikes, these were my four contenders, okay? These were my 4 contenders, and that's why I'm featuring them. Okay, these are some great options, but what I'm challenging is I want to challenge not just them, but all e-bike companies out there. I want to challenge everyone to reach out to their local bike shops. Reach out to local bike shops. Ask them about their, heavy riders that they have, because I can guarantee every bike shop has a handful of heavy set people who go in on a regular to have their bike service, or maybe they're looking for new bikes. You're going to find a ton of people who you could use as test riders. You can say, hey, we're interested in having some heavier set riders, some heavier people test ride our bikes and to give us honest inputs. Because honestly, if you have someone who, let's say you got someone who's like 6'1", and maybe they're about $180, maybe 220, okay? Their numbers right here. Now see, this is one of the Hey bikes, okay? 500 watt motor, 4 to 5 hours charging time, 55-mile range. Now these numbers may not equal to someone who's another 100 pounds heavier than that person, okay? Or what if someone's 150 pounds heavier? You're not going to get those same numbers. We're not going to look at 630 because they top out about 3 to 330, I believe. Hovsco. This is one I'm definitely looking at. I'm considering it myself. 750 watt motor. So from several reviewers I've personally messaged, they have said that this will do me fine. 960 watt hours, 80-mile range. Now the question is, for me, who's 370, am I still going to get that full 80 miles? Is it going to be 60 or 65 miles? The braking power on this bike, will the brakes stop on a dime for me, just as it did for someone who's 220? These are the questions we want to know. Okay? This is what I want to challenge these e-bikes to do. I want them to have a heavier set person, video their experience, and give us the numbers. Here, the Adventure, okay? This is the Adventure 2. its top speed is 28. Is that going to be the same for someone like me, or is it going to be 24, 26? Is it going to be 18? We don't know. 750 watt motor, so we should be good with that. 400 weight capacity, that's great. But what about the battery power? Is the battery that's good for 60 miles? Is it going to be good for 50? Is it going to be good for 40? What is the difference when it comes to that extra weight? We don't know. We don't know what those numbers are, because guess what, guys? We don't know, because these are all people who may be 6'1", 6'2", but they're a smaller frame person. They might weigh 260. The heaviest I think I've seen is between 265 and 300 pounds, right on a dime. Okay, as far as a stock bike without any swapping out of parts, like 630 recommends that you have to swap out your tires, your rims to support the heavier weights, maybe a stronger rear cassette for your chain. Those are things you're going to want to do, or maybe some better brakes possibly. But we're not seeing heavy set reviewers. There are tons of people out there, and no pun intended. I'm a big person myself. I was 495. I'm down to my lowest was 340. I gained 30 pounds this past winter. That's on me. That's something I'm trying to improve myself. But where are the heavy set reviewers? You can't tell me that there aren't people out there, because there are. It's just that their channels might not be as popular, and maybe these companies are like, you know what? We want some, because in fact, I actually reached out to a couple bike companies, and one of them actually said that, we're sorry, we want to, we're looking for channels that have more views than you do. I get that. I completely get that. My channel recently got to 1,000 subscribers. Right now we're at 1,082, and all you guys out there watching, I appreciate you, because my channel is a mixture of everything. It's a mixture of tech. Hello. It's a mixture of tech. It's a mixture of collectibles, and it's a mixture of talk. So my channel kind of goes against the algorithm and everything else. So, I'm not as big as other channels. Okay. And obviously I'm not planted within that niche, within that genre of bike riding. I have done a bunch of videos on bike riding. I've done videos on the Ride for Roswell, me actually riding the Ride for Roswell, me training for the Ride for Roswell. But you know what? I get that. I get that you're trying to run a business, or you're trying to develop a brand, and you want as many eyes on it as possible. And I get that. But what I'm challenging you guys to do is this. Okay, not just the 4 I mentioned here, but all e-bike companies, because there's thousands of e-bike companies out there. Okay, what I'm challenging you to do is to reach out to bike shops, either in your area or across the country, and ask them about some of their heavier riders, and get you in contact with them, so you can say, hey, we have a bike that's rated for such and such, and we would love if you'd be interested in reviewing this bike, recording your rides, giving us your first impressions, the assembly of the bike. How well did it go for you? Did it help you? Did you find a smoother ride? I'm an asthmatic. That's one reason why I'm looking at an e-bike, is because going uphill, usually it's harder on my breathing, or to change the weather with my asthma. What if someone had a stroke, or they have, their legs aren't as strong as they used to be? Could be an older rider. An e-bike can be something that will help them with pedal assist, not necessarily the throttle, because we see a lot of people who use the throttle. I'm talking about the different levels of pedal assist. Well, pedal assist 1 actually helped me, but because I'm a heavier person, maybe I wouldn't notice anything until I went to pedal assist 2 or even 3. Would I see, these are questions that heavier set riders want to know. I mean, if you have a car, okay, let's say you're a car person, okay, are you going to go to someone who rides motorcycles and ask them their opinion on cars when you're going to buy a new one? No. Same thing with motorcycles. Are you going to ask someone who drives nothing but cars their opinion on motorcycles? No. Same thing. You're going to go, I mean, if you're a larger guy or gal, if you're a larger person, you want to get the honest opinions and thoughts and the realistic expectations from a larger person. That's the plain truth, guys. That is the plain stone cold truth. Plain and simple. And that's what I'm doing, guys. I want to challenge all these bike companies out there. Reach out to a few, reach out to your local dealers, okay? Your local dealers, whatever those local bike shop chains are, and ask them about some of their heavier set riders. They have all the sales They have them cataloged. Okay, they have clientele lists. You can't tell me that they can't reach out to a larger person. They can. They can get you in contact, or they might be able to reach out to that person for you, because obviously that would be sharing information. I get that. But maybe have those companies say, hey, well, I can think of about 5 different people who might be interested in doing this. And they'll reach out to those people like, hey, such and such is looking for some test riders to get some reviews and opinions. Would you be open to doing that? Would you like to review an e-bike? And if they say, yeah, I would love to, set it up, guys. You guys, it's all you have to do is ask. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. But that's the thing. Just about almost all these reviewers, they're usually about maybe 300 pounds. 300 pounds at most, 245. But what about that person who's 350? What about that person who's 450? I mean, you can't tell me that there is no market there, because why else would Havsco, if I'm saying it correctly, why would they make a 450-pound bike? Why would they make a 450-pound bike if they didn't have people in that size range? They're thinking ahead. Come on. They have a 750-watt rear motor. Their battery power is cranked to the rim, and it's good for up to 80 miles per se. At least that's what they list it as. Why would someone make a bike like this? And this is not some clone of a bike. This bike has been reviewed by a good 20 or 30 different YouTubers that have found on YouTube here. This bike has been reviewed, but it hasn't been reviewed by a big person. That's my concern. Before I pull a trigger, I want honest opinions. I want to have realistic numbers for someone of my size and stature before I pull a trigger on this. I mean, this is a $1,599. And then if I want the fenders, that's another $90 right there. And if I want a rear rack, that's probably going to be another, $90 right there. So if I want to spend all that money, almost, close to $1,000 or close to $2,000 on a bike, I want realistic numbers. I want to know from another big person, is this a go? Did you have trouble with it? Did you have trouble going up a hill? What was the fastest you actually got it, and how were the brakes? Did the brakes stop on a dime? Did you have to replace the disc brakes? Was there a certain type of disc brake you went for your weight? These are all questions we want to know. And that's what I'm challenging all you bike companies out there. Reach out. I'm not saying me, although, hey, I'm open to reviewing a couple e-bikes if anyone's interested. But I want to see more reviews from larger people. Okay? Hell, the regular reviewers you're going out to. Okay? The regular reviewers, the people who are maybe 6 foot, 6'2", and maybe 180, 220. You can't tell me that they don't know any heavyset people that might be interested. You have the means. Social media, you can get people to review your bikes. Get some heavyset people, man. Let us have those realistic numbers, because the more weight, obviously the motor has to work harder because of a heavier payload, heavier weight. Okay, the brakes going to stop as well? I mean, someone who's 180 or 220, if they hit the brakes from here, they stop here. Now, someone who's 350, they hit the brakes here, they might stop here. There's going to be differences. You're going to see variances. What I'm asking is for, what are the numbers going to be? Give us some realistic numbers, okay? I mean, yes, you would have to list more information on your website here. Like, for example, right here. I mean, give us this number. I mean, give us a weight class. Like, okay, if this is a rider who's, if this is a rider who's like 220 or 250, these are numbers that these are rated up to. Now, if there's someone who's 320, these are going to be the numbers. Have a different set of numbers right here where you see the arrow. Have a different set of numbers right below that. Give us a chart for a realistic expectation. Okay. Okay. Here's that rack I was mentioning about. So, yeah, I mean, plenty of accessories, but I mean, that's the thing, guys. Give us some realistic expectations. Give us some real world numbers, just not on one type of person, but on different types of people. Give us that information. I can guarantee you're going to open up a whole world of clientele. You're going to get more customers. You're going to get you're going to get a lot of people. You're going to go, whoa, all of a sudden we can't keep up in demand. If you have a bike that's going to support heavier people, you're going to open up a floodgate. Plus, you're going to get people who are going to say, hey, well, me as a larger person, I felt like I needed to change this on brakes, or hey, I would like to see this type of seat being offered, or you're going to get input both ways. You're going to be able to build a better product. All of you e-bike companies, okay? I'm not singling out anyone. These are the top 4 contenders I was looking at, and that's why I mentioned them in this video, guys. But guys, that's all I'm asking for. Give us some heavier set reviewers. Some proper heavy, I shouldn't say proper. I mean, from someone who might have been 150, 180, and then they find themselves at 240, 250, that's, from their perspective, they're a heavier rider. Me, I was 495, almost 500 pounds. I'm at 370 right now. When I look at someone who's 240, 250, 255, in my eyes, they're not a heavy set person. Perspective is a big thing, guys. Just because your perspective is over here doesn't mean you can't bring it over here. I mean, look at everyone. There's a saying I try to go by. I like to be prepared for any and all probable possibilities. You never know what you're going to come across. You never know who's going to want to buy your bike. But hey, if they have questions like, hey, I've checked out reviews, but it's been a skinny frame person or a person who, could ride, 1,000 mile, like 500-mile ride without trouble. But hey, I'm a heavy set person. I have respiratory issues, or I might have a heart issue. I might have had a stroke, but I miss bike riding. I want something that I can go on, but I'm a larger person. Give us those reviews, because you know what? You're going to win people over. If I saw a review of someone who was like 340, 350 and said, hey, I rode this bike, I didn't see, I didn't have any battery issues. It didn't seem like the battery was draining more because I was riding and I did a 40-mile ride. Or, hey, the brakes were working fantastic. I had no issues whatsoever. If someone tells me that, I'm going to pull the trigger right away. I really am. That's what it comes down. It's who you're going to go to, word of mouth. It's a big thing, guys. You can't tell me that you can't find people, because you can. If a little bit of effort, you'd be amazed the kind of reviews you're going to unlock, guys. That's all I'm saying here. But guys, that's my video. That's my gripe. That's my rant. Bike buying for big guys. It's harder than you can. Let me rephrase that. Bike buying for big people. It's harder than you imagine, guys. Just like clothes shopping for big people. Our off-the-rack options are kind of limited unless we're buying something sight unseen. Same thing for bikes. A lot of these brands you can't find in a store. Aventon is the only one I can find in a bike store in my area. And that's the only one that is fully serviceable. They will work on the electrical aspect of it, but if I brought in a Hovsco, no, they would only work on the mechanical aspect. The same thing goes for Haybike. The nearest Haybike retailer is all the way in PA, closer towards in Pennsylvania, closer towards New York City. I'm in Buffalo, New York, which is the other end of New York State. Okay, the next nearest one is Columbus, Ohio, and that's probably like maybe 5-hour drive, maybe 5 or 6 hours from where I live. Just so I can check out the bike in person or to get it serviced. I'm sorry, realistically, that doesn't make sense. So guys, there we are. If you liked this video, give me that thumbs up. If you didn't, give me that thumbs down. If you really enjoyed this video, hit that bell. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit that red button to subscribe. But guys, always, if you guys want to reach me, my socials are right at the top. You got Daves_Dimension on Instagram. You can always email me there, or you can always reach out to me at my email at davesdimension78@gmail.com. And please don't forget the QR code at the top of the screen. That is the QR code for the Ride for Roswell donation page. Those that don't know, I'm in an annual bike riding event that helps raise awareness and raise money for Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Institute. And that's another thing. I'm doing the 44-mile ride this year, which is another reason why I'm looking at an e-bike, because there's a lot of steep hills, and I want to be able to do that. It's a 44-mile route that I'm taking this year, and it actually goes across Canada, through the Peace Bridge in downtown Buffalo, and then comes back through the Rainbow Bridge, I believe, in Niagara Falls, and then I'm going to ride all the way back to the University of Buffalo. 44 miles. I'm looking for a good bike. I have a few choices. I'm leaning towards either the Adventure 2, or I'm looking at the Havsco Hav Alpha. Those are my two front runners right now, but we'll see what happens. I just want to gather more information. I want to know if either one is going to be the one for me. I can't find that from a person who's only 220 or 240. So, guys, as always, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. You guys are amazing. You make this the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. So, guys, until next time, all I got to say is keep on busting, and I'm always going to catch you on the flip side. Take care.